my lovelies. Hey, my lovelies. It's me, Melly. Melly's Yarn and Book Adventures. Today is Tuesday the 17th. I'm lying. Today is Wednesday the 17th. At 8:34 a.m. Excuse the appearance and the angle because, and I say this because this is the second time I've tried to record this video. First time I tried to record on my iPad and it cut out on me in mid-sentence. 3 minutes into the video. I don't know if it's the memory on my iPad or what, but we're going to try it this way. Anyway, welcome to the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back and checking me out. I know I've been gone for a while. Let's just say that time had not allowed me to record, but I have some plans. So I want to catch you up on what I've been doing and give you some heads up on what I will be doing, because I am going to be doing Vlogmas. It's not going to be some follow me around for the day type Vlogmas. It's basically going to be kind of at the end of the night or first thing in the morning. It depends. Not quite sure yet. Because I bought an advent calendar from the Corner of Craft, and I was going to do an opening on that every day for the day, Christmas, and maybe just chat for a few minutes in the video. Like, they're not going to be super long videos, you know, just kind of like, hey, good morning, hope you got your tea, coffee, or whatever time of the day it is for you, whatever it is you're drinking. Today is da-da-da-da. Here's the advent for the day. Open it up, show it, thoughts on it, be excited about it, chat for a few minutes, and that be it. So they're not going to be super long videos, only because, like I said, time does not allow me to really make videos. I'm making a video because, yes, I am home alone. My kids are in school. Today is my oldest daughter's 17th birthday. I allowed her to stay home, so she's upstairs sleeping. She's work tonight. But besides that, I'm going to try to make this as short and sweet as possible. I have my cup of tea. I'm drinking from my bird and blend mug, if you can see. It's kind of hot. Bird and blend violet cream tea. I didn't put milk in it this time. I want to try it without the milk. Okay, so social media, what can we say about that? You can find me on Instagram, Goya Snow, GoyaSnow. You can find me on Twitter, MellyMel80, MELLI_MEL80. I'm not very active on Twitter. I do share, my Instagram does share to Twitter when I post, but that's, if you follow me on Instagram, you don't really need Twitter. I'm not really active on Twitter very often these days. But besides that, you can check me out here in my random videos. Again, like I said, sorry about the angle. It's not very flattering, but I'm leaning my phone up against my iPad. My iPad is currently updating. I had to delete some stuff, and I think that's why it cut out on me when I was videoing. Okay, so let's see. What should we start with? Oh, wait, forgot one thing. All right, so my channel. All about my channel. If you've been here before, you know I am an avid reader and an avid knitter and crocheter. If you're new, the channel is basically all crafts are welcome. Book reading is welcome. Like, you're just welcome. Like, I don't, as long as we can share some type of interest, or, you know, something that maybe I do interest you, you're welcome. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, so I knit, I crochet, I read. I love to read. I've loved to read since I was a kid. I also spin. I've learned how to use a drop spindle this past year, and fell in love with that. And now my husband is telling me I am no longer allowed to purchase yarn because I'm good at hiding my yarn. And recently we were cleaning out the basement, and he discovered just how much yarn I had. So he said, no more yarn coming into the house. And I said to him, does that include me making my own yarn? And he said, well, what does that mean? I said, well, I spin and my yarn and I have fleece. And he goes, technically that's not yarn. I was like, but it becomes yarn. And he goes, but technically it's not yarn until you make it yarn. I'll go with it. I'll accept it. It is what it is. And then he turned around and he goes, but you have enough of the animal fleece fiber. You have enough fiber. You don't need no more fiber. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll take it. Anyway. My daughter's probably upstairs, laying in her room, because her room's right above where I'm at. And she probably hears me talking, and she probably thinks I'm crazy. Anyway. What have I been up to? All right, let's see. Well, I've been knitting. Mad crazy knitting. I purchased yarn from my local yarn shop because every time I passed by, I didn't know it was open. And I purchased this yarn. I couldn't even tell you what it is now because I hated it. It's got silk in it. It's like a silk. The white is like silk, or I'm lying. It's flax. It's flax? Is it flax? It's linen. So flax. It's like a flax wool blend, or a linen wool blend. And I hate it, this yarn. When I tell you, I hated making these socks. I was like, oh my God, they're so... I saw the yarn in the store. And, you know, I went in the store to really check it out. But then, you know how you go in someplace and you're like, you know, it's a small business. And you don't want to just walk out empty-handed because, you know, that's just horrible. Especially since it seemed like she wasn't very busy. Like, she had no customers. And I actually watched quite a few people walk in, look around, and then walk back out. Anyway, so I'm one of those people that I'll buy something. I actually spent $160 or something on like 5 balls of yarn, which wasn't my intent. But I saw the yarn and I fell in love with it in the skein. But when I knitted it up, it was very stiff, very rough. I didn't do anything different. Like, it's a fingering weight yarn. It was very hard to knit on. And I knit these socks. I was going to knit them for me. I knit them for me to my foot size. And then I decided I'm going to give them to my middle child, my 13-year-old, for Christmas. Because A, I don't want to look at them no more. And B, I always make them, well, I started this tradition last year, but I started making socks for their Christmas Eve boxes because they get pajamas, and usually I buy them some kind of Christmassy socks. But last year, when I learned how to knit socks, I made everybody a pair of socks. And anyway, so I'm going to add these to her Christmas box. I'm not saying that they're not nice, but because the yarn's not nice. I don't think the yarn is really meant for, I mean, they're sturdy, obviously. I don't think the yarn is meant for socks, but that's what I wanted to make with them because I thought they were a beautiful, like, winey color. I don't know if you can see that. But because I hated working with it because it was so stiff and it was, like, rough. That's not rough, it's soft. Did I block these? Did I soak these? I don't think I soaked these. I'm actually afraid to soak them because I'm afraid. Anyway. No, I didn't. Anyway. But because while I was making them, I did not enjoy making them. But I pushed on because, I wanted to get them done. I don't want to wear them. They fit me, but I don't want to wear them. But my daughter said she liked the color, so I'll surprise her with those. And then, because I have started my sock knitting, I made my husband these huge, they're just vanilla socks. They're a DK weight, and I did soak these, and they still smell like sheep. This is West Yorkshire Spinners fleece, Jacob. And they're so rustic, and I have some of this left, this brown. I bought like a whole bunch of the West Yorkshire Spinner rustic yarn. And this is also West Yorkshire Spinner, this fleece. This is DK weight, and I was like, oh, I'll make house socks, because last year my oldest daughter stole the socks I made for him. And now she can't find them. They're somewhere in her drawer. But, I made these for him. And she tried them on, and they were a little bit big on her, which now I know they'll fit him. And I told him, hey, you know, if I make you socks for Christmas, would you wear them? Because he's never got to wear the socks I made him last year. And he was like, oh, I don't know. I said, even what about just to sleep in? Like, you know, I don't want to make something and you not wear it. And he was like, yeah, I would sleep in them. I'm like, okay. I love these socks. Like, these are my favorite ones. I did soak these in wool wash, and they're supposed to smell like eucalyptus, but you can still smell that, maybe it's a mental thing, but these are like my favorite pair of socks I've made. I think it's because they're so rustic. And I'm going to actually take a picture of these and post these on Instagram that I finished them. And they look huge. My husband wears a size 8.5 shoe, 9. Anyway, I think it's an 8.5 or a 9. Could be a 9.5, but I know they'll fit him. And then I start knitting my daughter these, my oldest one. This is the same white West Yorkshire Spinner yarn that I use for the heel and cuffs. And this is West Yorkshire Spinner. This is fleece and Aran weight. But the yarn is the same thickness as the white. And this is DK, at least I think it's DK, but it worked together. And this is kind of her birthstone color. It's a little bit similar. And I thought this would be a good pair of socks for her. So, oh, I need this actually. That I saw. I thought I took these off. So, there's that. And then, what else am I making? I'm not going to pull it out. But I started a sweater by... I'll pull out the papers, but I won't pull out the sweater itself. Oh, where are you? Okay, so I started a sweater by... Who are you by? Espace Tricot, I think it's called. It's Brightside. Now, I'm not using the recommended yarn. I'm using acrylic DK, bonus DK by Hayfield, and I'm using Hobie Mohair Delight, which is mohair and acrylic mixed. And I'm not using, obviously, this calls for Ramafino, and I looked that up, and it is not a DK weight yarn. So what I did was, I believe it's a thinner yarn. So what I did was, I used the same size needles, but I just went down like 2 sizes. And I actually tried it on my daughter last night after I finished binding, separating for the sleeves. And I asked her, I'm like, yeah, you know, we're about the same size up top. I just want to make sure it fits you. Or if it fits you, I know it'll fit me. I didn't tell her I'm making it for her. But she likes it. This is my 13-year-old because, again, she may not like the socks either, and who knows. Anyway, but I've had nothing but issues with this pattern. It's not, I don't think it's the pattern. I really don't. I think I messed up somewhere with my numbers, my stitch count with my increases. And it was frustrating the heck out of me because I was just about to do the last set of increases, and my numbers were off. I had the correct numbers for one section, but my sleeve numbers were off by 4. So by 2. My sleeve numbers were off by 2. I don't know how. I think somewhere in the beginning when I first started, I forgot, I messed up an increase round. I didn't realize I messed it up because I was still getting used to the pattern. Anyway, so I fudged it a little bit. I fixed it, and then I checked again, and my numbers for the back of the sweater were off, so I fudged that until I got to where I needed to be. And then I separated from my body and sleeves, and my one sleeve number was off by 2. I had 2 extra. So I don't know how that happened. So I fudged that. And at this point, I separated for body and sleeves. It's a straight knit around, knit around, knit around. I'm just going to keep going and take it from there. I'm not worrying about my numbers no more. I know it fits her. I'm not worried about it no more. Like, I'm not counting any longer numbers because basically I'm just knitting. Basic knit, 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 knit. So I want it long enough, and then I know how to do my ribbing, and then I know I have the correct number for the sleeves, which is what was important to me. The body, if I was off 1 or 2, I don't care. It's not going to do nothing but add a little bit of extra room. And my child and me have some wide hips, so that doesn't, not a big deal. It looked nice on her. Anyway, so there's that. That's about it for that. I'm also working on the second sock of this. And because this is a DK yarn, I want to remember how I did it and on what stitches I did it. So I wrote it down. I wrote it down for my... I used the Crazy Sock Ladies numbers, but obviously, you know, I do my heel differently or whatever, and I do my toes differently or whatever. I just needed the numbers for it. And for my daughter's sock, I needed the numbers for her length. So I used the numbers from my hobby basic sock pattern for women. Basically, it'll still be the same. I just used the numbers for it and wrote it down. So that way, like, I know my husband's foot, I knit until X amount of inches. My daughter's foot, I knit till X amount of inches. For my foot, I already know how many inches to knit to if I'm using a DK yarn. So I'm not worried about that. And I just wrote it down, which I normally don't do, but I wrote it down. Okay. So that's all I'm working on. Not a big deal. I'm not really crocheting. I was crocheting. I made a shawl. But I have to weave in the ends, and it's in the corner somewhere, and with my yarn, and I really am not feel like digging it out. I used, I couldn't even tell you what I used, but it's like a triangle type shawl. Nothing major, just basic granny triangle. Alright, so, what else? We have acquisitions. Okay, now, you may not know this, but I love, obviously, knitting socks. But I have so many different kinds of needles. I have DPN in both knit Pro, but it's the UK version, so whatever the UK version name is, because I got mine from Hobby. So Knit Pro, and then I have so that's my DPNs, and then I have some Lika DPNs in blue wood and the driftwood colors, and then when I discovered 9-inch needles, I have Chalgu 9-inch needles, and I have higher 9-inch needles, because I bought but just in 2.5 and 2.25, and I was using them like my flexi flips, which was cool. And then I was like, oh, you know, I need a bigger set of needles, because I realized that in my DPNs, I did not have anything past a 3. I actually do have a 4 and a 5, but I didn't have 3.25 and 3.5, which I needed for my DK socks. So I purchased just a single set of, 5 needle pack Chalgu, because I like my Chalgu interchangeables for my sweaters. So I figured, oh, let me try them. I actually did buy 9-inch circulars in 3 and 3.5, but not 3.25, which was weird. Anyway, so I got that, and I was like, oh my god, I love these so much. So I went and bought the whole, I'm about to drop some. I went and bought the whole sock kit. And I think I loved my 9-inch. I'm like, oh, I love my 9-inch. Oh my god, it's so easy. But I really love my DPNs. I could never do 2 needles, I couldn't do magic loop. And you see a lot of, oh, what's your favorite knitting method? I love my 9-inch needles because they're quick. But I love my DPNs because that's what I learned on. And even though a lot of people first learning, they're fiddly. Yes, they are fiddly. Do not use metal needles when you are learning how to knit socks for the first time. Use bamboo. Use some kind of wood. Even if they're cheapy needles, use some wood. Or even plastic if they, I don't know if DPNs come in plastic, but do not use metal because metal slips and slides. And you will find it fiddly. You need something that's going to hold your stitches because you're learning how to maneuver multiple needles. That's my tip that I always tell anybody. What's your favorite needle to start knitting? Needle doesn't matter. Just make sure they're not metal. Find what's comfortable for you. But if you're knitting your first pair of socks, do not use metal. That's what I always say. But I love my knitting on DPNs, and I think the reason is because it's the way it's always been done on DPNs. The whole magic loop, the whole 2 needles, 2 30 whatever, 2 needles at a time to use it is like, it's cool. We'll say that. It's cool. You can do it. It's worked for people. I don't have, whatever your chosen method is, don't get me wrong, that's your chosen method. But I like the fact that DPNs were basically the original way that people knit it in the round. And it's the aesthetic of knowing that, this is the way it was done. I like it. It's comfortable for me. It takes some getting used to, but I can do it. No problem. And that sound, that click, 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 click sound when you're switching needles and they're dangling and they're kind of hitting each other. To me, I enjoy that. My husband looks at me if I'm sitting at the kitchen, which obviously I'm doing now, and he goes, "You're like a little old lady." And I go, "Yep, I'm a little old lady. I'll take it as a compliment." He means it as a compliment, don't get me wrong. But anyway, so I'm actually, see that sound, can you hear it? That click, click, click sound. So, now, I took off, where did I put it? Hold on, am I losing my mind? Get it full? It fell, I think. Yeah, it fell. Sorry, my little leg bolt pin. This is the beginning of my round, and I need that. Anyway, so, what am I reading? Okay, so that's what I'm working on. That's what I've been working on. That's my only acquisition, because, like I said, I'm not allowed to buy no yarn. I have to use what I have, so that's what I'm doing. What am I reading? I am reading within these Wicked Walls. I can't think of the author's name. It just came out. It's a new release. But I'm reading it as my NetGalley because I realized I had it. I didn't know I had it as a NetGalley. And I was like looking through and I'm like, oh, I want to read that book because I've heard some things about it and it seemed like it was right up my alley. And I said, wait, is this book that I have for NetGalley the same book? So I looked and I was like, oh my God, it's the same book. So I'm reading that and I'm like, 55% in. I'm enjoying it so far. It's really not what I expected. I mean, obviously I knew it was magical or whatever and futuristic. Which I don't know how to describe it. It's not fantasy. It's kind of magical, kind of mysterious. I'm not quite sure how you would describe it. But I'm enjoying it. There are parts where I'm like, oh my god, I want, like you get kind of like frustrated because you're like, oh my god, why is this main character such a stubborn brat? But then you realize the reason is because of the way she was raised or grew up. And stubborn meaning, when I say stubborn, I mean her life was all about survival. She had to be able to survive in the environment she lived in. And so she's stubborn, and she doesn't, she's careful, and she doesn't give easy, and she won't, it's like, I have to protect myself, I don't care about you, or, I don't know how to hold a conversation and not be rude because I've never had to do that. Situations like that. She's kind of learning about social manners and social interaction with this job that she's doing, this opportunity she was given. And then the other main character, he's been isolated, so, but he's or before he became isolated within his big castle, he was, I guess, a very social person, so he needs that social interaction, and she doesn't know how to give. And so they're learning, and he's also very like, I'm the master of the house, and, I have rules you have to follow and whatever. And she's like, you're my boss. The only thing you can tell me to do is, if it's to do with the job or whatever the case is. And they're kind of like learning how to not connect, but learning how to interact with each other in ways that they've never had to interact with before. Like, he's used to getting his own way, and he's used to, doing things and nobody telling him no. And she's like, no. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just like, no, that's not right. Or, you can't just go do things because you want to. Anyway, and, she's being treated in a different way, and she's like, I don't know how to react to this, and it's not a bad way, but she's used to being on her toes, and she's used to being, having to look over her shoulder and having to watch, kind of basically to survive life. And she doesn't have to do that. Well, she does because, like, of the situation with the house and the men, whatever, that she's trying to deal with, what her job is. But just everyday, like, interactions, like, she doesn't know how to. At least in my part. Anyway, so I'm enjoying that they're learning how to kind of like interact with each other and social rules, and how to it's okay if you're this, but it's not okay that, and kind of like teaching each other. And I think they're kind of falling in love, but I'm not quite sure yet. Anyway, so that's what I'm reading within these wicked walls. And that's about it. That's it. That's about all I got for you today. It's what I'm knitting, what I'm drinking, what I'm reading. I'm about to go and decorate my tree. Well, I'm not going to say decorate my tree. I'm going to say redo the lights on the tree, because I bought lights and didn't realize that one set of lights was different than the other. Even though it was the same brand, it was like one was like bright white and one was like warm white. So the tip of my tree is darker, and I could flip it and put all the bright lights at the top and then the darker lights at the bottom, but that would still bother me. It's like the OCD part of my brain that's like, no, that's not right. Anyway, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you back next December 1st. I'll probably record the day before. Next week is going to be mad crazy busy for me. I work in retail, so leading up to Black Friday, or because we have Thanksgiving off because they're not opening, Black Friday is going to be ridiculous crazy. I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's not going to be fun, and I'm probably not going to have a lot of time, but I'll do a video introducing what's to come for Vlogmas, and I guess that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. Again, sorry for the bad angle. My phone is low. I don't have a high spot to put it, and my iPad was acting weird. I will see you guys later. Don't forget, check me out. Give me a thumbs up, comment, ask me any questions you have. Let's have a conversation in the chat, in the comment section if you want. Talk to you later. Bye.